Ladies and gentlemen, I got to look at the news yet again and just put myself laughing at the government we have. It's so depressing. And in many instances, yeah, I really don't know what to say sometimes. I know many of you want to have positive news. You want me to say everything's going to be okay. And I suppose in the long run it will. Because let's face it, the politicians of this country aren't exactly what I'd call effective. But anyway, let's actually get to the news. Let's get on to first the smaller news, and that is that Julius Malema has apparently filed a defamation case against the PA's deputy president, Kenny Kunene. Now, why has he done that? Well, apparently, according to Malema, Kenny has made some comments about Julius Malema basically being hooked on drugs from Nigerians and obviously covering up and getting involved in some of the illegal smuggling of cigarettes. Now, according to Julius, Kenny doesn't have any proof of this, but I've heard the rumors too, and I'm pretty sure Kenny has heard the rumors too. Some of the rumors are going around are from Julius's party himself. They're all talking about it, and so relaying the messages that you yourself have heard is, according to Kenny, fair comment. Isn't that what Julius says when he says something that's outrageous? He says it's fair comment, it's political speech, it's protective speech. And I would argue the same. We're not saying that we definitively know these. We're saying they're alleged statements, and they are alleged statements. I've heard the allegations, and I don't know Julius personally. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But there are questions when you look at his weight loss and his personal life, and the comments that potentially that there's Nigerian drug lords that have hooked Julius and coke could very well be plausible. That's the allegations being made by various parties. So anyway, Julius says that this is slanderous and it's hurting his reputation, and apparently all of these things are really bad, and he's going to sue Kenny for it. You're welcome to let me know what you think of that in the comment section below. So now on to the actual main story, and it's a story that I just found myself shaking my head at and just laughing myself silly at. And that is that the minister in the presidency is being investigated for fraud and corruption. An ANC minister being investigated for fraud. Well, lie never. Except you got to understand who the individual is. This is the minister in the presidency. It's the person who directly is responsible for talking with Cyril Ramaphosa themselves. This also means that as part of that engagement, let us not forget that the state security agencies were put in Ramaphosa's hands, around COVID, because he said that the agencies didn't pick up on all the crime and what, and so obviously he put it in his office. Well, this person works in that office. So the actual body responsible for going out and conducting a lot of these investigations, this individual is basically directly engaging with. Anyway, this individual is apparently being accused, allegedly, of stealing 2.5 million in tender fraud. And this basically came from their time in office in a municipality where they awarded this tender incorrectly. It's always a tender. It's always been incorrectly awarded. In any case, this entire debacle was reviewed in 2020 in Polokwane, and the entire fraud or debacle around the tender was described as repugnant and devastating. Personally, I look at 2.5 million rands worth of fraud and I go, that's like not even a car to some of these individuals. That's actually a really small amount of money. But you see, the problem is that this person directly reports to Ramaphosa. And they have been reporting to Ramaphosa for years. This is a person who has been protected as one of Ramaphosa's lieutenants. This isn't the first time we've seen this in Ramaphosa's cabinet. Let us not forget the whole debacle around digital valves. As part of Ramaphosa's cabinet, we see these headlines over and over and over again, where Ramaphosa's cabinet, time and time again, has an individual somewhere fingered in fraud, over and over and over again. So, News 24 actually reached out to this individual and asked for comments around the allegations of fraud. And apparently, the individual responded, I'm on sick leave for a few days, and then basically flew to Mozambique and was seen in Mozambique as part of, the whole kind of cabinet entourage there, because remember they had a new president and they were to go inaugurate it. So, they were on sick leave, but actually they were in Mozambique for a party. Yeah, also happens time and time again. And what we constantly see is that lip service is constantly given to the anti-corruption narrative. The key individuals who are responsible for the anti-corruption efforts are themselves, time and time again, fingered as being corrupt. So what's the response to all this? Well, the response is rather predictable because everybody looks at it and goes, what you need to do is fire the individual. And the DA has asked for the individual to be removed from cabinet. They've said that the person can't be there with the corruption charges, specifically given the State Security Agency. They should step down. They should be removed from their office, and they should be taken away from Cyril Ramaphosa himself, because obviously that gives a stink to Cyril himself. Guilty by association and all that. And there are other individuals, such as the EFF, who basically say what this actually shows is that Cyril himself is actually corrupt because he keeps protecting these individuals, and these individuals are known to be corrupt, so again, guilty by association. So what's actually going to happen? We don't know. I mean, if the ANC technically uses this whole step-aside rules, this individual should now step aside. Why? Because the actual investigation is not speculative. It's an actual investigation being conducted by the Hawks into corruption. And the Hawks themselves are conducting this as a criminal investigation. So according to the step-aside rule, this individual should step aside. So will the individual step aside? Well, as we usually see in these instances, the answer is no. They'll usually feign ignorance about everything and wait to the very last moment and then get pushed. And because of the actual media pushback. Now, I find this interesting that this individual specifically is possibly getting the axe, because let us not forget that whenever the DA basically says something, the person who goes out there and has outrageous comments to say in defense of the ANC is usually this individual. The minister in the presidency says this on behalf of Ramaphosa. So the individual themselves is basically a mouthpiece for Cyril and the media, where they basically get to slate the DA but still work with him in terms of the GNU. And without this individual, well, one has to ask what happens next. Actually, a better question is who would replace this individual? Would the DA get his wish? Because during the actual negotiations for the GNU positions, this was actually one of the positions that it was suggested should be handed over to the DA. In fact, John Steenhuisen was one of the original individuals who was suggested for this role. So will this trigger a cabinet reshuffle? Maybe John will get the job. I severely doubt that. Apparently John's very happy dealing with cattle. But in any case, I must admit, I did laugh when I saw this. Yet again, we're seeing an individual in Cyril's cabinet, yet again, fingered for fraud and corruption. The last time we saw this was with their Speaker of Parliament. Ended up getting booted from that role too. I mean, this just happens time and time again. All the senior people in Cyril's cabinet, just give it enough time and there's some investigation somewhere that comes out showing that something went wrong. And it's boring. To actually see the headline, so-and-so is yet again being reviewed for fraud. I mean, even you, dear viewer, must just be like, oh, this again. Anyway, that's just my comments. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, bye.